Elizabeth had a vision once she could see yoga evolution community. When she shared it with me, I was touched so very deeply. So I came to Sycamore for a little while to do a bit of yoga and to change my style. Gonna take it home and live into it every day. Beginning each day, sitting so still. Tommy said it's easier than the walk uphill to the yoga dome for asanas to get real. Meeting all the yogis was such a treat. Didn't think this practice could be so sweet. He eyed my yoga pants in a grin, and I can't wait to begin. So much breath work early in the morning, and that Nabi Kriya, oh, I was moaning. I stuck and stooped to Bada and I couldn't get up off the floor. Sitting round the circle on the cushy chairs, digging deep to find it, but there's nothing upstairs. Don't know what I'm gonna say when it's my turn to share. Trusting your arms to hold me, I fell back with surprise. My heart broke open when I looked in your eyes. You were all holding me with such loving care. I notice each day we all grow more alive. Inside this REY practice we're beginning to thrive. Join us in the circle and discover what it is to be free.
We named Real Evolution Yoga for a very specific reason. Each word is important. So for us, real is about keeping it real. Real whole being, our physical body, our emotional body, our mental body, and our relationship with spirit. So keeping it real and building wholeness. And evolution is about building wholeness and evolving ourselves as human beings. So while it's great to have a physical practice on the mat that is strong, if that doesn't serve us in growing ourselves and in increasing our vitality, then there's not much point. So evolving the whole being is the second part of our title, Real Evolution Yoga. And then yoga. The origin of the word yoga was all about union. So for us, yoga is a practice of best integrating our internal world and external world, all of the aspects of ourself in balance, and having practices that build our vitality, which then gives us more fuel to evolve ourselves and to express in the world. So that's how we came up with Real Evolution Yoga. And it keeps us real, right? We want to be real in the practice, evolving, as much as we want anybody who comes to participate with us. In Thrive, we do a whole range of practices and provide a certain set of experiences. And the practices some are designed just for Thrive, right? We just do them here. Some are designed to take home so that everybody can find a set of practices which really nourish, strengthen, expand their being, their body in the world, fueling their own vitality, their ability to contribute in the world.
In the process of building a new identity and therefore a new alignment, and doing that spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, what has to be affected, what has to be educated is the nervous system. Changing that means working with two main things, your balance and your eyesight. So just as we get older, the typical way of seeing aging is that you lose your balance and you lose your eyesight. Well, of course you're going to need reading glasses because that's what everybody does when you get older. To be able to exercise the nervous system and be able to strengthen it like you would a muscle, how do we actually do that? Our premise is you do it through balance training and eyesight training. And because you want to get to the interior part of the body that we take for granted when we're younger.
And one of the original sets of teachings is called Kundalini Yoga and Meditation. And Kundalini yoga and meditation is a full methodology that can look a little weird, but is very powerful for people to experience and to use. So we include some of the practices of Kundalini yoga and meditation as taught by Yogi Bhajan in Thrive. And that's an experience for people to deepen their breathing, get a bigger range of breathing, understand the power of their breath, to stimulate their spine, increase flexibility in the spine, and notice that the impact that that has on our body, on our nervous system, and on our being. So one day during the week, we go outside to a beautiful spot and we do several exercises which are designed to really stimulate and expand our ability to express and be in the world, designed to stretch our nervous system. So for some of us, the challenge is, reaching out, opening out, being on our own and trusting that we are held. For some of us, falling backwards into the arms of others and trusting our friends to catch us is a big stretch. But what we do out of these series of exercises is we expand our capacity to feel, to be present in the moment, and to do certain activities that are out of the norm that stretch us. And what that does is create a reference point. It's a reference point that we can come back to as a way of saying, yes, this is possible. Yes, I can do this. Yes, I can, step into this particular challenge or this new dilemma, staying centered and powerful and grounded.
What really got me to come was the intuition that I was slowly closing my life down at this age, and that Tom and Elizabeth had something to offer me to recapture my own vitality and my own commitment to being fully alive. You are continuously invited to get to your own edge, and no one else knows when you're there. It's authentic, it's real, and you have complete permission to just go for it. And I did, and I kept going for it, and I kept supporting my teammates, and it was just a breakthrough kind of day. I came back with an openness and awakeness and an alertness that I haven't felt in a long time.
I was born with both legs, but as I grew, the one did not develop correctly. So I have a prosthetic limb, and today in practice, I even took it off while practicing. So I can just get in poses in the best way I feel I should be in them. I like to really go with that philosophy, like yoga is for everybody. Like it's any body type, big, small, tall, short, missing limbs, all your limbs. I just think it's for everybody, and I just really want to push that through to anyone. And I guess I just can go home knowing that conversation, deep emotional conversation exists. And I like that there's a community out here, out in the world that exists that wants to have that conversation.
I had struggled for a very long time with PTSD. I'd been diagnosed a long time ago. I had been in therapy for a long time. But that, as of late, and when I say as of late, for about the past 2 years, my body has just come to pain constantly. I'm 50 years old and I have just ridiculous amounts of pain, and that's how I followed up with, or how I got here, was the additional prompting, a little bit of training, and finally, right to the last minute, I was skeptical to come.
So then I got to try the edge. And having been through all kinds of training in the Marine Corps, where I was in a harness, where I was on a rope, where I was underneath a helicopter, flying over treetops, where I had done things that always put me in positions where I had to take my heart out of the game and operate exclusively from the training, operate exclusively from a macho, I'm ready for this, I can do it, lock my jaw, feel nothing. So when it was time to walk down to the edge of that cliff, I locked my jaw, I walked down, I had no fear, until Tom put his hand on my shoulder and started talking to me and telling me, we know you've been trained as a warrior, we know you're a Marine, we know you've done this type of thing, but this time is different. I started to shake. I mean, I was truly scared. But I threw myself into it. I trusted him. I trusted that what was happening here, the only way for me to truly get the full benefit of what was happening here was to trust him. So I leaned out over that rock and I wept and I moaned, for lack of a better term. Things from inside me came up in a very short amount of time, but for a brief moment, I found a bliss. One of the other gentlemen that was here explained it, and he's an LAPD, 32 years. I feel like he's seen more than I could ever dream of. And he talked about finding a moment of bliss. I found a place where I found confidence, a confidence that wasn't put on me in a uniform. It wasn't put on me in a battlefield. It wasn't put on me in an embassy. It was a confidence I found by going to the edge. And I was taken there safely by the people that are here.
In that high place, what people find is their ability to be with their own fear changes. Now, we of course have people do this who've never been afraid of anything, right? Military people and so forth, and they are able to do things without fear. But I tell them that some of the people who've gotten the most value out of this event is those people who have done all the scary things in life but never allowed themselves to feel any of it. So the whole idea is you go to that place where your edge, the internal edge, the emotional edge, you bring yourself to that edge internally, and then you take that edge to the edge of the rock. And you stand on that edge and you face into the energy of opening up to something new. And basically what we see about that is it can change the nervous system. And what we're about is educating the nervous system.
So this year at Thrive, I teach. I am part of the facilitation, and alongside Tom and Elizabeth, and we have 3 assistants with us this year. And so I teach the morning practices. I teach the sequence. I teach a bit of breath work and meditation, as well as show up, and show up not just physically in attendance, but show up in the most real way I can be for the students, and offer my experience through yoga, but also as a human being. This week is a reminder, and it's a consistent check-in, and it's like an anchor for the year for me, so that when I start to feel out of alignment or off kilter, off balance, just out of sorts, I can think back to how I feel when I'm here. And it's a reference point for me throughout the year. And the beautiful part is that when I get to come back every year, I learn so much more. And so that just like my reference points and my feeling of being grounded, my feeling of being whole can expand.
So I think one of the things that the 3 of them have done is they've really looked, and then they've integrated all these different aspects, so that the 6 days that we're together, you have a sense that all these different threads of my life, the spiritual part of my life, the physical part of my life, my emotional part, my mental, that's all really well thought through, and then their activities, that match those. Another time, they're having younger people come in because there's a group of younger people that are actually doing a yoga training program. So then we have all these different young people that we feel like we're really contributing to them because we're supporting them in being much better yoga teachers. And that's, I think, a very unique aspect to go away and to be at a retreat in that particular way. Also, there are couples. There are people that are at all different levels of either yoga or some of the work we're doing. So it's an opportunity for all of us to begin to support each other in many different ways. And now they've opened up this whole area now to the veterans, the military veterans. So last year we had a gentleman that was there, and I just watched him transform over the week, from the time he was there being very quiet and kind of isolating or whatever, to being able to be much more out. And I just know they're going to be doing a lot more of that, and I just feel really good about being part of a group of people that have that particular focus too. So, although also sort of like the Springs, You know, to be able to do yoga and be really rigorous during the day with a lot of physical activity, and then we get to be in these fabulous springs. It's very important.
My biggest takeaway doing Thrive at this moment is to recover a core center, a core energy that lives inside of me from which I can move more effectively in life. I understand habits and practices in a way that I have never thought about them or understood them before. There are habits in my life that keep me trying to do different things that have been stupid, that have not increased my aliveness, that have not made life around me more fun or meaningful for others, people that I love. And I've come away now with a center, a deep and abiding energy, which will require practice to grow and thrive.
It's definitely given me a new sense of standing in my body just firmly, and knowing my presence in the world, and just knowing, you know, that I can walk anywhere in this earth, and I'm in me, and when I'm in me, I'm at home, so I don't have to be in certain places to feel like this is where I should be, you know.
I so badly want other Marines to come here, other veterans to come here, anyone who has suffered PTSD or anything that keeps them out of their body, that keeps them up in their head, locked up, scared, tight, worried, afraid, not in the moment.
The goal is evolution, to evolve yourself. A lot of times we think of real evolution yoga as real, period, evolution, period, yoga, period.
Govinda Hare Gopala Hare He Prabhu Dina Daya